Hello everyone and welcome back to I Was a Teenage Exocolonist, and let's just continue where we left off. Okay, so we want to try and find that thing for that spice for Auntie Anne. Oh, hello yellow flower. So let's head out there again. Oh. A very tricky one to target, that one. Forage the valley. Alright. Giving it another bash. Hopefully we can find what she wanted. You find a healthy blep bush and harvest some of the leaves to bring back to the colony. Utopia is beyond excited when she sees you. Yep, we've had that one before. Don't. Oh, hello. Alright, we've had this one before as well. Sing to it. Which I believe is the same we did that time. Awesome. And we're singing a lullaby and we leave it. Another yellow flower. Oh. You're trekking through the Valley of Vertigo when you come across a large yellow flower. Each petal is at least the size of a dinner plate, all delicately curled around a central pit. When you look inside the flower, you see that the petals cradle a shallow well of a pale red liquid. It smells horrible, like rotting vegetables. You're about to leave it alone when you notice that the stamens of the flower are a deep purple red. Wait, isn't this what Aunt Anne asked you to find? You hold your nose with one hand and grab hold of a fistful of stamens with the other. With a wrenching tug, you've separated the stamens from the flower. Oh, ugh, it smells even worse now. Your eyes are watering. You retreat from the vile flower before it can deal any more damage to your senses. I mean, it probably smells that way to attract flies or things like flies. Oh, we have an egg over there. You come across another squeeger hive, an intensely gravid hive queen and her hundreds of wriggling grubs, rooted here just like any other tree. This one seems calm. You're able to approach close enough to smell the sweet tang of a royal jelly. Watch quietly. It's absolutely fascinating. The squidger hive queen coos to her children who skitter in and out of the holes on her surface. You can kind of see where her eyes used to be, but now she's more mound than creature. She still breathes, but eats only what she can absorb from her legs, which have become roots. Her larval children pinch her when they're hungry. She groans, clenches, and out of the holes oozes her sweet-smelling jelly. Fully grown termite-like squeegers march back and forth, paying you no attention. It's easy, apparently, so fine. Let's try it. Alright. What happens then? The calm hive queen has only a rudimentary danger sense. Squeeger hives can be very defensive when they sense danger to their young, but as long as you don't set off the workers or the larvae, You're free to walk right up to her. You gently avoid hurting any of the babies as you scrape her copious honey into a collector. And we'll take that egg. You come across a cluster of mushrooms. Identify them. You determine that these mushrooms aren't only poisonous but explosive as well. You mark their location down on your holopalm so other foragers know to stay clear of the area, and Utopia rings you a few kudos for good scouting. Nice. Oh, hello. Riki are carnivores, you think, but the juveniles are too small to take out anything larger than an insect. Not so much the case with this one. The Riki blocking your path is pretty large, probably about as tall as your waist, and it's growling at you over the carcass of something even bigger, which seems to be missing its head. Yuck. You're not sure if it killed or scavenged the dead animal, but it's dragged it onto the path and looks ready to fight you for it. Wait for it to leave. You back off and wait. It sits there and gnaws at that animal slowly for hours. It's disgusting. Eventually, it rolls over and takes a nap, its many legs kicked up in the air and its tummy bulging. You try to sneak by, but it wakes up with a hiss. It drags the rest of the carcass off into a tree, and you can finally pass. Oh. No. I wanted to pick that one, the blubber fruit. You come across a terrible scene. A manticore has cornered a little hawkeye and is playing with it, batting it around and catching it over and over. The hawkeye is screeching in terror. It's a horrible thing to watch. I mean, it's nature. That one is basically acting like a cat. I mean, there's a cat and a mouse. Watch what happens. The manticore bats the hawkeye around for 10 minutes. Eventually, the hawkeye stops trying to escape and just lies on its side, trying to play dead. But you can see its little sides huffing in and out as it hyperventilates. The manticore nudges it a couple of times, looking bored, and for a second you think the hawkeye might live. Then the manticore picks it up in its mouth, crunches down and breaks the hawkeye's neck, then drops it on the ground and stalks off into the jungle. Okay. So that is a weird thing for something from nature to do. Not eating it? You wait until you're sure the manticore is gone, then climb down and look over the poor mangled body. It didn't even eat it. Nature is awful. Well, I mean, it's not really a thing that usually happens in nature, so I wouldn't really say that. Could do one more thing. An absolutely enormous tree forms part of the path here. Yeah, whisper back. Let's bring them back to Utopia. You are a forager after all. Utopia can figure out what to do with these. I mean, I've already planted one, so yeah, let's go home. This year, Governor Lum's ascension to the Vertumnalia stage is heralded by an entire military band, their instruments shiny and nano-printed new. They march out of command in formation, splitting and forming a phalanx at the foot of the stage as Lum takes his place before you. Spotlights turn on with heavy ka-chunk noises, illuminating Lum in a halo of floating dust particles. He spreads his arms wide. "Hello, Vertumna," his voice booms over the speakers. "Are we winning or what?" The reaction is mixed. You look around. It's easy to see the ones cheering the loudest are Helios and people who've fully adopted their mentality, like Nem. The Stratos are more reserved, some even silent. Security Chief Rhett is one of them, his usual stony expression hiding his true feelings. Regardless, there's enough cheering that Lum has to wait for it to die down before he continues. We're killing it out there, people," he exclaims. "Every day we claw a little more territory from the savage aliens of this planet." "You mean the ones whose planet it is?" A Watato pod arcs through the air and lands with a broken splort at Lum's feet, splattering him with juice. You don't see who threw it, but the faction from Geoponics is looking restless. They begin to jeer and stomp their feet. Lum continues on, raising his fist. "Those Xenos attacked us first, and now they're learning. Don't mess with humankind." Honestly, we landed on their planet. We're invaders. So technically we took the first step. Or threw the first punch if you want. The crowd is now evenly split between cheering and booing. The Stratos are agitated and you hear calls for things to return to how they were and how Lum and his soldiers are killing the planet. Even the council, lined up before the stage and facing the crowd, looks conflicted. "That ain't how it is," Utopia turns and hollers up at Lum. "You don't even know what it's like out there. You just send folks out to die for your stupid war." Utopia hops on stage and routes her own hear-speak through the speakers. "He's lying," she yells bitterly. "This year we lost 2 surveyors in the swamps, Sorrel and Quinny. They'd be alive today if Lum hadn't sent 'em to clear out a manticore den for no good reason." She jams her finger against the governor's chest. "The only threat to our colony here is you." Lum's smile doesn't change, but his eyes go cold. He snatches Utopia's hand and calmly, slowly, crushes her holopalm crystal with his thumb. You can hear the crunch of the bones of her hand before her feed cuts out. Utopia yelps as her knees buckle with the pain, her bravado gone. She holds her broken hand to her chest and is too shocked to resist when Lum shoves her off stage. The crowd is stunned into silence as well. Lum clears his throat and approaches the end of the stage, looming tall over the council. "Thank you for your input," he says icily. "Your concerns have been noted." This isn't the buffoon Lum presents on his daily holovlogs, or the nuisance he is when he visits a worksite. No, this is the true Lum. You see something in his eyes you've only caught glimmers of before. Hatred. "You Stratos are lucky we didn't crush you under our boots and take your colony by force," he sneers. "Before we got here, this colony was doomed. You're only alive because I was merciful." "Just a bunch of burned-out hippie fugitives. What was your plan for surviving out here? Wishful thinking? Singing songs and talking to animals?" Laughter ripples through the Helios. "You," he gestures to the council, then jerks his thumb at his chest, "need us, not the other way around. I'm done pretending I need to listen to your opinions. If you want to live, you'll do what I say." He stares at Dr. Instance, who glares up at him with hate in her eyes as she tends to Utopia's hand. Maybe it's time to clean house, he threatens. We need team players here, ones who share one vision for the future of Vertumna. After a few tense moments, Seek clears their throat. Sir, shall I continue with the traditional formalities now? Lum scowls down at Seek, then throws his hands in the air. Whatever, do it. If it makes you feel better, you're all cowards. He turns and stalks off the stage, his marching band scrambling to follow him with his exit song. As promised, there are no contests this year, but there's plenty of food and alcohol. As the suns begin to set, the Helios, including Vase and Nem, head straight for it and look ready to party into the night. The other teens seem a little less at ease. Dis, quite predictably, has already left. Hang out with the Stratos. No, I totally get it, Rex says to Cal as you approach. They didn't used to be this mean. Sure, we all joked about how, like, we'd find you guys rubbing sticks together in the dirt after your nanotech broke down, but it wasn't like this. He jerks his thumb towards Vase and his group of friends, who've wrangled themselves a live trippet and are skewering it to roast over a bonfire. You can hear its dying squeals from here, and as night falls, smell the sweet charred scent of it cooking.
No, they've always kind of been like this.
Nomi shakes their head.
Just like total human supremacists. See something you don't understand?
Nomi makes laser guns with their fingers.
Pew pew, all gone. Want something someone else has? Pew pew, all yours.
They lean back on their hands and look up at the night sky. In dust, the wormhole looks so peaceful and far away.
I used to think me and Rex were like changelings. Like aliens beamed in and replaced 2 human babies with weirdos.
I don't think you're weird, Cal says wide-eyed. I think it's really great you two don't act like Helios. We are Helios, though, Rex replies and Nomi nods. And some people dancing around that bonfire are Stratos. It's not about how you were raised.
It's about the choices you make, Nomi finishes. No one is just a good person or a bad person. Only bad people think they always make the right choices.
The dancing and feasting continues well into the night while you pass the time with your friends in the peaceful faction. Knowing that the whole colony isn't into being soldiers and fighting Lum's war on nature makes you feel less alone. But you can't stop thinking about the governor's eyes as he crushed Utopia's hand today. So long as he is in charge, does it matter what anyone else wants? Nope. The week after Vertumnalia is one of the hottest since you landed. You're supposed to take time off for a much-needed break, but it's just so humid and awful and tempers are short. Shortly after the festival, you start seeing graffiti cropping up everywhere. It seems that a lively, if not particularly civil, conversation between the two factions is being held on the flat surfaces of the colony. Lum announces a zero-tolerance policy for political graffiti, but you notice that not every tag is being removed, just the ones against the war, of course. The atmosphere of the colony is oppressive, as thick as the choking dust heat itself. Everywhere you try to relax, people just want to talk about the war. To make matters worse, the sweltering nights are making your nightmares intense again. You return to work feeling more stressed than ever. Well, usually we get some rest through Vertumnalia, but yeah, not this time. I will talk to you, Cal. I'm just gonna see if there's anything else to collect. Oh, we can talk to Nomi. Let's talk to him first. You had plans to hang out with Cal today, but when you arrive at the geoponics dome, it's worryingly dark inside. You fumble around in the red emergency lighting until all the lights come back on with the heavy ka-chunk of a breaker being flipped. You blink into the sudden blinding light until the figures of Cal and Chief Engineer Instance resolve themselves in your vision. Absolutely no more of that, young man, Instance scolds Cal as he cradles his hoverboard in his arms. The power grid is not your plaything. I understand, Auntie, Cal says. I'm sorry. Instance mutters to herself as she passes you. Honestly, all of this over a toy. Hey dude, Cal greets you. Sorry, I meant to meet you outside after work, but... He looks down at his hoverboard. My board wouldn't start, and I figured it was maybe out of juice, but when I plugged it in, it threw off all these sparks, and the whole power grid shut down. Cal's shoulders slump. I was gonna ask Dr. Instance to take a look at it, but she told me she doesn't have time to fix a dumb toy. Let me take a look at it? Okay, Cal says slowly, handing over the lifeless hoverboard. I guess you are pretty good at fixing things. You open up the hoverboard and poke around in its guts for a little while. After about 20 minutes of fruitless prodding, you have to admit defeat. You're like 75% sure you know what's broken and 0% sure you know how to fix it. In fact, you think you might have made it worse for trying. Whoops. You hand the hoverboard back to Cal, who cradles it sadly in his arms. Thank you for trying, Selene. I really appreciate it. It's always kind of sad when a piece of old technology needs to be retired, but Cal seems to take this one harder than most. He hugs the hoverboard to his chest and excuses himself, not waiting to hear your goodbye. I mean, it's just yet another thing from, the past, the good old days, that is disappearing, so to speak. Nomi is in their usual spot in the lounge, surrounded by their steadily growing collection of body pillows and stuffed animals. They're curled up with their arms around a giant plushy creature and seem to be scrolling listlessly through the movies available in the Colony Media Archive. You okay?
No, Nomi pouts. I've been betrayed. I finished all of Maid Stalker Ares, and it ended on a cliffhanger.
They tip over onto their side, clutching their plushie to their chest in anguish.
I didn't know that the stratosphere had left Earth before the series finished airing,
Nomi whines.
You have every episode except for the two-parter season finale.
They bury their face against the plushie.
Now I'll never know how it ends, they sniffle. It's not fair that we'll never have any new shows to watch.
Maybe we can make up a new ending. Nomi wipes their eyes and looks up at you hopefully.
Really? They ask. You'd do that with me?
Tell me about the Maid Stalker Ares. Nomi launches into a full summary of Maid Stalker Ares, including everything down to the blood types and astrological signs of the characters. It's a lot to handle, but the two of you come up with a pretty good fan script for the missing episode.
And then Aries and Sagittarius embrace just as the light from the interstellar portal engulfs them, and the camera pans back to a ghostly image of Gemini's face, smiling down at them from the spirit realm.
Nomi claps their hands excitedly.
It's perfect, they exclaim. So much better than just leaving it right before the climactic battle with the Agents of the Stars.
They smooth down the fur on their plushie with a thoughtful look.
Thanks, Selene, they say, and was feeling so bummed about the cliffhanger because it just reminded me that even though everything ends, sometimes it's a lot earlier than you can handle. When I got here, I remember looking at your huge media library and thinking, wow, Galactus! romantic. I'm never gonna run out of things to watch. It felt like the whole world was still ahead of me, ready to be discovered.
Nomi digs their fingers into their plushie.
Now it feels like everything's just on fire all the time, and everyone is always on my case about how I need to grow up. What's so bad about being innocent? Why does everything have to be so grim all the time?
There will be more good experiences. Nomi nods, their chin wobbling as they try to keep it together.
Yeah,
They say, tipping their head up to the ceiling and trying to put on a brave smile.
that's a good way of looking at it, Selene.
Okay, we need to rest. I guess I could have visited the spa.
What's that I smell?
Aunt Anne asks, poking at your bag.
Did you find that spice flower in the Valley of Vertigo?
Yes. You present the plant parts from the Valley of Vertigo to Aunt Anne.
Oh, wonderful,
She exclaims, clapping her hands. She takes the bundle of stamens from you and breathes in deeply. Their smell has mellowed out in the time they've been in your backpack. Or maybe it was just that super gross flower stinking up everything within the vicinity.
There used to be a spice on Earth called saffron, Anne says dreamily. It was very rare and took a lot of effort to gather it. And this is as close as I think we're going to get on Vertumna. I'm very happy to have it, thank you.
No. Not removing those. Where do we get persuasion?
Oh, hello.
You spot Rex carrying supplies and big pieces of wood into a huge tarped-up section at the end of the lounge. He waves at you, well, as much as a wave as he can do with his arms full of mushwood.
Hey, Elaine, he calls out to you. Have you come to see the bar?
I didn't know there was one. You give him a questioning look. The bar? You don't know Rex super well. You've never heard anything about a bar. He gestures to the tarps.
My bar, he says. I've been working on a special project ever since I joined the construction crew. The colony needed a place to cut loose, you dig?
He looks up at it, beaming with pride.
I think it's actually halfway done.
You take a look at what you can see. Rex has kept it all pretty well tarped up and hates letting people inside to peek, but you can tell it's big. Perhaps a little too big. Ambitious, maybe, for a first solo construction project. But Rex has had a lot of help from his crew and from the whole colony. He'd have to be able to find enough wood. I'm sure it will be great. Rex comes over to you and slings you into a one-armed hug.
Just seeing you makes me super energized, he says. I can almost hear the music now. That's right, the bar's gonna have live music. You know anyone who plays an instrument?
Well, me?
I'm gonna work double time to finish this place. If you want to help, bring me all the mushwood you can find.
Okay. So, I can actually gift you? Want mushwood? Rex shoots you a shy smile.
Nothing a dog likes more than a stick, right?
I mean, not really why I was giving it to you, but sure. You spot Rex's leg hanging over the side of a makeshift hammock he's fashioned out of a tarp cloth. He's asleep, but he stirs as your shadow falls over his face.
What?
He murmurs, blinking up at you.
What's up? You need something?
Let's just give you a hug. Rex folds you into his arms, bending his whole body to you. He smells warm and a little spicy, like clean sweat and sunshine.
Yep.
Right. I was going to check this. Perception. Ah. Not really into getting more friendship with Mars, but whatever. It'll give me persuasion. I'll do I want to get that. Honestly, I'd rather work on my engineering. Now let's go and do some engineering. So much math. It's everywhere. Physics is math. Computers run on math. Electricity, mechanical engineering, chemistry, and anything to do with space. Math. Behind everything is some equation or other to calculate how to turn one thing into something else, or to tell how efficient something is. They should have called this whole branch of science mathneering? Okay, that's a weird word. There we go. Oh, hello. Little fruit. Okay. I think I am going to end this episode here. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!